What's up, everybody? Anders here, doing a guest hosting of the Guitar Tricks channel. I got Neil tied up in the back here because we're doing some jazz stuff today. We got a request from Ebenezer, one of our Facebook friends, for some jazz stuff, so I'll be taking over just for today. I'm going to start you off with a tip of the week, and my tip of the week is to practice while you're watching TV. Now, if you're watching with someone, there's a good chance you're going to drive them absolutely insane by doing this. So here's the trick. Cover the strings with your right hand, and then practice anything that has to do with your left hand. Right? If you're a beginner, you can practice some basic chords. I'm doing from E major to A major here, or like D major to G major. Just make sure you're practicing it right so that you don't develop any bad habits. If you're a blues guy, you can practice your vibrato, build some strength there, right? If you're a rock guy, you can do hammer-ons and pull-offs. If you're a jazz guy, you can do some of the crazy chords that require stretching and all kinds of stuff, bending, anything you can think of that has to do with the left hand. And moving on to the lesson, and we've gotten a lot of requests lately for some jazz stuff. So that's what we'll be doing today. And assuming that most of you guys are rock dudes, we're just going to look at some pretty simple but very effective ways to add a little bit of that jazzy flavor to your rock or blues playing. These tricks are pretty cool and effective, and you may not be able to fool an actual jazz guy with them, but most people will buy them, and I think they're pretty cool. Now, the first one kind of sounds like this. And all that is some pentatonic stuff with the jazzy sound coming from this pull-off, right? If you're a rock guy, you've probably played these stuff like that, right? It's just in the blues scale, or in A minor. If you're a blues guy, you definitely also played these notes. So the basic idea is that you pick this note with a downstroke, then do an upstroke, and then pull off twice. See if you can get the accent on the downbeat here. And then play the root up here in the D string in the 7th fret. So down, up, pull off, right? And we got this little, that's the rhythm, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can resolve it up here on the D string to the root if you want. And up an octave, it sounds like this. Gives you a little bit of that bebopy sound that you know from guys like Robin Ford, George Benson, and Larry Carlton. You can do it all over the neck, anywhere you have 3 notes on 1 string. If you started on the 4 like we did now, it sounds very bluesy or very kind of rock, just with a little jazz flavor. If you started on the 6 instead, it sounds way more jazzy. And the 6, if you don't know it, is up 1 whole step from the 5. It's the Dorian note, if you've ever heard people talk about that. In this case, it's in the 7th fret of the B string, right? And if you start the lick here, it sounds like this. We've got the A minor chord. Pretty useful stuff. The next thing you can do is to add some totally random chromatic notes in between all the notes that you know. So for instance, if we're here in our good old A minor blues scale pattern, you go up to the highest note in the 8th fret of the E string and switch fingers. Same note, but now playing it with your 1st finger. And then you go down chromatically. Chromatically just means that you're doing every fret in between. See that it just follows it down. And then you find yourself with your 1st finger in the 5th fret of the high E string, and you're back in your blues rock pattern here, and you can end it in any rock lick that you know. That's right. And then you're back here. Right. Right, sounds kind of cool. Now, you don't have to know what you're doing. You can do this all over the neck with random chromatic notes if you just make sure to come out right. And coming out into a blues or a rock lick always works like a charm. So you can just go get really loose with it and just make sure you end up somewhere down here where you can find your way around and play a cool blues lick and you're fine. The next thing you can do to add a little more of that wacky chromatic flavor is to add sort of a pedal note, and it doesn't really matter what pedal note it is. In this case, we're going to do it on the B string with our 2nd finger. It's just going to follow your 1st finger down, right? And you can hear that it doesn't have to be a note from the scale or anything. It's just sort of more of that wacky, jazzy, chromatic sound. And if you want to make it look really jazzy, you can got to do the rock with the neck, right? And people will buy it even more. So that's a couple tricks that you can use to add some jazzy flavor to your blues or rock playing. Have fun with them, and I'll see you around.